It's my coronation!
Coronation, Starscream? This is bad comedy.
What did he say his name was?
Galvatron.
Welcome back to the Tiny Arm Hanger. This is Mike coming at you with the FansToys Sovereign 2.0. This is their second take on a Galvatron. A bit of a bot blocking maneuver coming from them, but I am going to look at this. I'm going to do some comparisons, and we'll see where it goes from there. I did get this to Showsy Storm. I have a link down below where you can get yours too. If you missed out on the 1.0, this is your chance to get the 2.0, which is superior in most ways, and we will talk about that. But let's get in and take a look at this guy, do some comparisons, talk about the ups and downs. Coming up! Here's the box, and as usual, I'll try to match the pose. One thing right out of the box is I think you have to move up the knee pads. I don't know, I think I matched the pose well enough. So with the box, it's supposed to be cartoon accurate, obviously, FT-59, and there's alt mode, cartoon look, and then real world on the back, comparing it to all their products. This is a cross-sell there, very nice of them to put that in there. Yes and no, not really. Cross-sell to sold-out items, not really fun. Showing you what that accessory, see that accessory that's curved? This they wanted to show you why they included it with a bit of fantasy. Here he is out of the package, and I think he does look pretty good. He's going to need to move back a little bit more so we can see the feet as he rotates around here. But yeah, it's improved in all ways. But as I said in my top 10 Transformers, that this figure, I figured the slot should have gone, I figure this figure slot should have gone to a Megatron. I'm not going to take away from the fact that this does look fantastic, and it's a great looking figure. It's just, as we do comparisons, you're going to see that we already had a great looking Galvatron with them, and I'm going to get into the issues this one actually brings, aside from a far more complex, at least twice as complex and time-consuming and involved transformation. This also has a couple of issues with it that one can be resolved, one can't really be resolved, but we'll get into talking about all of that fun stuff. But let's go ahead and start with looking at all these crazy accessories. First off, I do want to show that he's got his bling with the Matrix, and I don't know, for some reason I always thought the Matrix, I look at it like this. So can we scroll those around? Yeah, there we go. And it's on a chain just like in the movie, and it's a metal chain and very quality, feels right, does feel very right. Now he's got bling right here. He has no ice in his grill, but they actually, if you look at the picture, you would assume he had ice in his grill right there. He also comes with this cannon, and he's got the clear cannon and a solid cannon. Both have light up feature. Both use a 1212. I don't have that. I've never owned one of those batteries. I've never needed them for anything. Why not use an LR44? In 90% of these, there was room in there. They should have been able to do that. It comes in two pieces. This connects by sliding on right here with that little connection point, and there is this clips onto the back. But when you look at all of this fun stuff, here comes this. And here's how all this works. This thing does a little flip around kind of deal so that it can, get warmed up there, yo. This little nub here comes out, and that's what connects. Also, I had this undone so you can see. If you want to go buy one of these batteries, which I'm not going to, and put it in there, it's in this here, and then it tabs in the same way other ones do. You just untab this to pop it out, and there's the on and off switch. It's all inside there. So it's not very often that we get electronics in both cannons, and but what are you going to do with them when they don't really, the batteries are kind of hard to get. We also have the thing here, the blast effect, and it's keyed. It's keyed. to go in a certain way. Let's fix that key there. There it is. Now this does have a bit of a curvature to it. And then you are going to plug it into here, and let's see if he can hold it up. Well, I mean, if you're going to have to go up like another notch to get it to stay. Yeah. Maybe go out one. Yeah. So they said, well, since it's not going to hold up, let's give you the curved one so it can look like he's flying like this. And then, of course, they're going to give you a stand adapter and a stand, but so it looks like he can take off, and he's taking off in, you know, whichever direction with that. I don't know if the light's catching it. Then, of course, you get the stand adapter, which plugs into the rear inner rears like this. And then you plug them into a FansToys stand. I just looked at Show Z, and they're sold out of FansToys stands. I thought they would never sell out of them. For whatever reason, it just seemed like those stands were there forever. But now they're sold out. So probably one of the sales and events and stuff, and those sold out. But I guess you could dig through. I could dig through my old boxes, get a stand. But I'm not interested in that. It's just a thing you can do. For faces, he has. I'm gonna get the chain off of here. I put the screaming face on to match the picture. It goes from kind of like scowling and slight changes to each face. Very ever so slight, which I just can't imagine like why they would do this. To where he's now this one here, where he's mouth starting to open a little bit. I think I like this one the most, so we're gonna put that aside. Then he's got one like kind of a sneer, and then his I don't even know if I got him in order. His mouth just perpetually gets bigger. This one looks more like a laugh. This one more looks like a snarl. And I think I'm covering up part of it. That one's like a yelling like he's melting or something. And then this one here, he's got a wink going on at the same time. Like he's in pain. Both of these are like pain. He's in pain. Like when he's on the planet of Char. But that one feels like it fits him the best. So we are going to pull this up, and then you push down on it because there's a tab to go into the hole, and then you put it back up here. Now I picked, the only reason I had the other one in is because it matched the picture, and I was doing the pose thing, and these are pretty easy to change out, and I say that as I look like I'm struggling, but I'm not. There it is. That's the one I like the most. That feels like Galvatron more to me. He's got a little bit of a smirk to him, and like got a little bit of crazy, but he's still trying to hide it at the same time. Yeah, that's it. Now we're gonna get into quick articulation. Head will go side to side, up. Okay, up just that much, and then down. And I find that once you start messing with swapping heads, then whatever keeps it connected gets a lot looser. Shoulder, if you can make sure this doesn't rub, goes past the 90, which is great. You do have the kind of a looser bicep swivel than I'm used to with FansToys. Double joint? Is it double jointed? Not double jointed. Or at least mine's not, or mine's too tight to work, but it doesn't appear to be double jointed. And then these don't want to stay together as well as I would like. The forearms. Hands are very, very tight though. I like the fingers tight. Splayed, 2 points of articulation. Nope, no splay, sorry. 2 points of articulation on them. Hands do look pretty good. Opposing thumb, which is kind of loose on a ball joint there. And but the fingers themselves are pretty tight. Let's bring this down just a bit. And we got a really nice paint on this, of course. I like the transparent stuff there. Ratcheted waist swivel, which is interesting. Bit of a crunch, as you can see. It feels intentional. Also, the backpack's incorporated in the crunch, which is interesting on that regard. In that regard, now we do have an advancement of hiding hip flaps. I gotta check the other one, see if that one had, but I'm pretty sure the other one had just standard hip flaps, and it has a bit of a drop down as it kicks. It's gonna be limited to the back, but you know, you're not going that far back with your leg, are you? There he goes, 90, which is fine. Nice, solid hardware, but that's actually not ratcheted. And then we have a thigh swivel, which works. Remember to get the knee pad up, not double jointed on the knee. So elbows and knees, at least mine's not double jointed. I might not be engaging it properly. Oh well, don't want to wear that out too much. Well, we're gonna wear this whole thing out transforming. You're seriously gonna put a lot of wear and tear on this transforming it. It's no joke. And looking at his shoes here, his boots are made for walking side to side, some up and down. I mean, pretty much what I would need. I mean, not. In all reality, I got the pose I needed to match what I thought was kind of a fantastical picture on the front, but there's his articulation. Put the hip flaps back down. Now I said it has two issues that it created with this mold and this design. Number one is that if you want the cannon on his forearm, to date, I don't really know how it can be done. I was wondering if I missed something somewhere and maybe there's a way, and I just don't see it happening. The other issue is the fact that, well, that issue in itself is you can't reenact some of the major scenes, which I think Brian Brink on Realm of Collectors was the one that pointed out first that I know of. But if it attaches to his bicep area instead of his forearm, then it's just not going to match the scene where he, right after he blew up Starscream and many other scenes where it was attached to his forearm. So with that, I mean, that is an issue. The other issue is going to be stuff in the legs. When we go to alt mode, I'll do that swap out when we're at the right point in the transformation, because I don't want to just half transform it, then transform it back and all that kind of stuff. But there's two issues so far known with it. And, well, I guess the third issue, the transformation's not very much fun. For comparison or for clickbait, here is Galvatron. And as you can see with the 1.0, he's able to do the pose where his forearm is kind of up, and that's how it works. But should probably sort of angle the arms similar. I'll do a little bit more with this, but for the clickbait, there it is. I want to show this is the G1, and G1 size-wise actually sizes up for a Masterpiece collection, which, again, as a kid, getting something Masterpiece scaled that doesn't, it's way bigger than your Chug scale stuff, like none of it really made sense unless you knew the origins of they just hodgepodge stuff together. But then again, at the same time, like, wasn't this at this point they were making up their own characters? So I don't really know. I don't really know. Why was he so much bigger than the rest of them? That always bothered me as a kid. And so Megatron was wonky looking compared to the show. This guy looks okay, but is a walking giant. Like, he's almost the size of Jetfire, or if not the same size as Jetfire. He's almost the size of a Combiner, if not the same size as a Combiner. I mean, okay, I guess I'll stop. Here they are side by side, and I will say, yes, 2.0 is a significant improvement, and it's one of those things. There's a few issues for me here with this. Number one, I did not buy this right away because I didn't think it was that much better than the DX9, and it was better than the DX9. But I liked the DX9 because it was slimmer. I thought this was too stocky. Guess what? This is now slimmer, and I bet next to the DX9, there'd be more similarities now than there were between these. I also jumped on the bandwagon because I liked the more purpler look of the M series, the M movie version, and with that, I mean, it's kind of funny, but I still liked this one. I still felt like it wasn't the best we could ever get. Do I feel like this is the best we could ever get? Well, now I want the X-Transbots even more. Yes, I said it. Because this is out, they blocked Transbots, X-Transbots. They thought they did. I actually want it more now because I want to see what X-Transbots does. And if they can make it look even cleaner, oh man, that would be amazing. That would be fantastic if they could one-up FansToys on it. But anyway, moving on. Notice the ginormous tread. I was always put off by the ginormous tread. And we have faux tread here. In the transformation, we get real tread. And so it's a whole process, but yeah, it looks way better. And it's almost the same purple. They are slightly different, but if I were to say the 1.0 of this and put it over there, it'd be like blazing blue versus this. I mean, it would be more blue. Nah, I don't know who to compare it to. It wouldn't be quite Trax blue, but close compared to this purple. So I think that this nails the color, and this is like really close in the Pantone there. Other things, I think it's cleaner in the waist, even though, well, it has the hiding hip flaps. This has old school, old fashioned, I need two hands or I'm gonna knock it over, old fashioned hip flaps in there. This isn't painted down here, and so it just kind of looks like cheap plastic. That was another complaint people had about it. This isn't painted, looks like cheap plastic. So, I mean, it's just, this over here looks more intentional to match the colors correctly. So it is superior. So the new one is superior. It is better. It is an improvement if you have the choice of two. But here is another thing. As you know on my channel, I don't just do reviews. I mostly do discussions, I guess you could say. So when I discuss this stuff, I can't not talk about this. The fact that this guy over here is like $200, something like that, $200 something. And I don't remember. Shozy is much cheaper than some of these other places, but I don't even remember because I had to put a deposit down, so what I paid wasn't the actual price. But let's say 200, you might be able to catch him for 100, 150 by someone selling their spare off. And that's how that goes. All right, for a comparison with him with Cyclonus and Scourge, or just a random sweep you pulled off the street there, it's okay for him to be now in front of them a bit because he's superior, he's their leader, versus comparing him to himself side by side. But I will say that this is a nice looking team. This looks good. I will say I still like the Cyclonus. Come on, we don't want 2.0s of him or him. No, that doesn't need to happen. So please don't do that, FansToys. We don't need that. And with the X-Transbots one, that comment I made was simply, I don't want everything redone, but I do want justice for X-Transbots. Anyway, that's a nice looking team. It works, and if you didn't notice, I just threw the 1.0 in there so you could see like the difference in real time. But now we're going to see what it all looks like if we put the new Galvatron with X-Transbots, Scourge, and Cyclonus. And that's what he looks like if you display him with your X-Transbots versions, which I also like. I think they're great. That's the first one. The second one that came out with is darker. I don't know why, but this color matches the, I guess, original color scheme a little bit better. But I will say both of these are vastly lighter than the FansToys versions. FansToys uses more die-cast, and except for some of the newer X-Transbot stuff that comes out, does have quite a bit of die-cast in it, but there we go for comparisons. And here he is next to Megatron, the MP36 from Takara, and Takara's version, of course, Hasbro's recolor, and brought over here to Toys R Us. You remember Toys R Us? It was a store that used to sell almost only toys and baby products, but they would have these exclusives, and that's a thing of the past. But anyway, that's how it looks. I don't need a new Rodimus, but a lot of people think they do because they don't have this one. You can still get a pretty cheap one. My son got this one. It's my son's, and he got it for like 90. I don't know why for the life of me you'd want to, but you can put this nub down and then rotate around this here and slide that groove over that to put the cannon right there. That's ridiculous. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. I don't know why they included that. It wouldn't follow the forearm anyway. I don't know. I don't get it why that's even a thing, but it's a thing, and it's a thing on both cannons. Alright, so I'm trying to make this transformation as fast as possible. I'm going to do it in quick phases here to get this stuff done. So we are going to fold this piece down. We're going to pull this out. And this is going to come up here. And then what we're going to do is slide it out all the way, 100%. And then it's going to fold. It needs to stay folded out. Stay folded out. Stay folded out. You have to, I guess you have to go all the way to the snap so it stays folded out, and then it'll tuck on to here. Then what we're going to do is open up this forearm that didn't like to stay closed all that time. Flip this hand around, make sure that all the fingers are folded in. We're going to fold this in, and then this kind of splits, so we can fold this up and this out like that, and then we can get into, so basically what we're doing is we're disconnecting it, and then we are folding it around like so, and getting it prepared for, well, sort of out of the way. So we're going to tuck those arms in here in a bit. A little ahead of myself here. Let's go ahead and flip. There's two different waist flips that we end up doing. Now we can flip this around and up. And let's go ahead and get these arms upside down also. And then we're going to start on the legs. So let me adjust the camera down. Now for the legs, I got the ball rolling with one. One thing to do is just remember to push this knee pad down to start. And then we need to open her up. So it's going to take a combination of pulling up on this and getting something in here. This is a super tight joint right there. Try not to scratch any paint on this. As we open it up. Now the foot could also be catching on stuff as you're opening it, and that's a thing. And then we are going to tuck a little piece in to fully open all this. Let's get a little bit better angle on it. It's this rear, well, so technically it's the front piece there, but from the angle I'm looking, it's rear. Now with that in, we're going to be able to open this and bring this out, and then we're going to have all this stuff for later, and it's going to go that way because it's going to flip. We're going to flip the script, but I'm just going to keep it in just for now, make the flip go a little easier, I hope. And then we're going to do a lot of stuff with this foot, so let's go ahead and open it up at the tab where it closed right here, and it's just going to completely reverse itself, and then we tab it back in to here, and then this is going to fold over. Now this is the infamous on the wrong, we got to swap these. We will do that, but I'm going to wait till the end because you can transform it without fixing it. It just doesn't clip in. It's not the end of the world, but it's way better if you do it right. Then we have to do some rotating on this to get it to work, to fit right. Well, it wouldn't fit right anyway because it's not correct, but this has to rotate over and then fold over to fit flush into there to where it would clip if it was the right one. So that's what we want. Now what we're going to do is hold on to this purple piece as we fold all this over, and then we're going to make sure that this needs to stay up, but we need to make sure that the hip side flap kind of stays in there. And now at this point it's a good time to fold that out. And now it's all about getting all this stuff to fit right. Flip this around here, and this is going to start tabbing in, and then this is going to, yeah, I got that right, flip around also, and then we start tabbing in. So this tabs all into all of that. It's kind of ingenious in a way. I mean, it's ingenious in a 600-step process. All right, there's that. And then make sure this is takes a ridiculous amount of pressure for very little access to it. I mean, it's a lot of pressure to get that piece in. See, I did it on the other side, and so doing it on this side requires like every bit as much of that pressure. And you can see without swapping them out, we were able to get them relatively there, but we'll get it better here in just a minute. But focus your attention to getting this tabbed in all the way. I'm going to give it some pressure. Ah, there it is. There it is. And I think this might have popped out while doing that. Over here. Okay, I think we're in decent territory. Now these can't, first of all, if you extend them all out of the way, it's just more in the way. And we're going to need them open anyway. But I mean, for the most part, like this is more or less the legs. All right, so let's get into this. Spin his head around so I don't forget. And then we're gonna, this was tabbed in. This needs to get tabbed out. So we can reveal all of this stuff, and then we'll just start bringing this stuff out up here. So when we lift up on this, well, that just came out way easier. But basically, when you lift up on this, it gives you leverage to pull that out. And I was trying to show it on camera, but it didn't exactly show on camera. Okay. Now we have to deal with a whole lot of panels, and it's really, it's in a way fascinating. In a way, it's a little scary, but we're going to bring these pieces here out. And we're going to form that arch. And yeah, there we go. There they go out. And then we want to get it around all of this fun mess. But maybe we can get it, fold that up a bit. There we go. Now it goes around, and basically this starts, okay, so this is where it's all going to just start looking like a mess. But if you really understand what's going on with it, then it's not going to be quite as bad. So we're going to start folding all these pieces. There's just a whole bunch of pieces to fold out. So we'll fold them all out and just start forming basically the top of it. This is gonna eventually tab into this. Once we get it all folded out, it's gonna tab into this. It might be helpful to just get that in there now, because it's gonna want to flop around a little bit. And all right, let's get a position where things can make more sense. Now we're gonna fold this out, and that kind of goes into that crevice. And we're looking at it from the inside. I don't know if it's easier for people to think about it looking at it from the outside. That folds out too. So it needs to fold out on this side also. And then it's going to follow the curvature of this here. And then we're going to have all this out of the way mostly, because we're still going to need to do a lot of upper body torso stuff before any of this is going to go into place. So let's get to this side where this comes down, and we'll slide and fold into the chest. But our goal here is not that yet. Our goal is to flip the head around, and you got to do several things before that can even be accomplished. So so much stuff, and it's kind of hard to even decide what the best order is. I mean, is FansToys' own official the best order for all of this? I don't even know, but bring these pieces out. And then with that, these are going to be the leg stands, which it's another kind of fascinating way to do it, but you can pull these out with a tremendous amount of pressure there. Then these will just come up and collapse These are just hidden treads. You have to have it just right to collapse over it. I want to get this kind of feature. As you do this, it pushes the tread out, which is another kind of fascinating thing that they've done there. And we do the same thing on the other side. Now we need to flip the head around, so, well, we actually need to do a few things before we flip the head around. But we can kind of push that out, help get that out of the way. We need to bring, I guess you could grab it from this, bring these filler panels out, and then fold out this, is it like a little clip? It's nice that there's a little notch there you can get your finger on, and you can pull it out. That will also help keep this a little more supported, not flop around quite as much. There's a lot of flopping around. It's, I mean, you could almost say this is a shell forming type of transformation in a way. And then you come back around here, push this piece here out a little bit. Now what this is going to do is this is going to flip all the way around, but not yet. We're going to fold this around, and it is tight, real tight. Let me see here. Let's go back from whence we came. And I think I'm going to flip that around while that's partially there. Halfway through that cycle, partially through that cycle, I'm going to flip this around so that this is ready to clip in and work smart, not hard, or do both. I guess you could say you're going to end up doing both. No, wrong way to the wrong way. I went back from whence I came too far, didn't I? Now we're close. Remember the direction you're going, Mike. The direction you are going. All right, now almost all the way around. This should go in and form that. And that looks nice. Looking at this objectively and not just like, what's the next step? Why we do it? This all will fold into the inside of this. But so you have to show the cavity. So that's what makes sense to me. So you have to flip this around without dragging on any parts to share on that. And I think I've got to adjust his head differently. I think that's how it's supposed to go. And then we are going to slide these on a slider this direction. And they will insert us into here. And that should all fit just fine. I'm going to go ahead and fold those pieces there out. We'll mess with that in a minute. Right now we need to close up the back of it. And there's a lot to do here. But basically you want it to look as much like the finished product as you can before you go to closing it up. And start moving it down. You want to get this over all of this here. That needs to be in place. This needs to go over it. Kind of like that. And then we are going to be tabbing a whole lot of stuff in, but I think the biggest part is getting these pieces here, right here. Not on camera, getting these pieces in. And I think this one here is going to require the most pressure. And like all this stuff seems to be going in, and it's going to be held in when this one piece goes in, which I literally just pushed that off camera. I just grab it, and it's so much easier when I just grab it and manhandle it. I don't know if the manhandling is something I can show from this angle, but anyway. Here we go. I'm doing the same thing here. All this is supposed to tab in. And then when this tabs in, it holds it all together. And the tab goes into there, and just I'm not 100% sure I can show it because I have to, you almost in a way wiggle it a bit while you do it. Wiggle it just a little bit. Let me get that done. All right, once that's plugged in, then you come around to the back and then you plug all this in, and more stability once you get these two tabs here into there. So every step adds stability. That's coming undone. Don't worry about that. These side pieces, since I haven't done the fix yet, these side pieces are going to need some work to do some fixing. They're not going to be able to plug in properly till we fix it. So now we got to come around. Next thing, and it's starting. So stuff that you do is sort of just put in an approximate place because we are going to need to do some other things. The next step is to put the legs into place. And as this keeps flopping around, these tabs here are coming out of place. All right, we are going to rotate this around, and as you're going to see, this is going to go into here. That's what the tab's going to go into there. There we go. Do the same thing on this side. And then this there's slots and tabs and things for this to tab in to solidify this a little bit more. Now we got to get the arms in here, which is why I didn't do a whole lot with this lower section, because we need to get the arms in here. And with that, it's going to take a little bit of rotating of stuff to get them in there just right. All right, so a couple things about this. First, you want these pieces all the way out. They probably pushed back in like mine did. You're going to rotate this around to where this can go in, but you want to have this piece, this soft piece, it's like a little hole to do a bit of a soft tab to this. So that's going to have to be rotated around to expose to that, and then that could just tab in now or later. It's not really that big of a deal. And then you're going to bring this down like so, and then that would go tab into that. But like this, well, I'll probably do it afterwards because it looks like afterwards it's going to be easier. But there we have that. Same thing with the other side. Rotate this around, and you want to have this hole facing the inside, and then in case I didn't have them orientated properly in the first place, I'm going to get them down into here, and then we want to put this down like a cover. It's like a cover into place right there with those. Get them in there. These will tab in right here. Hey, did I tell you how much fun this is? There it is. There, that tabs. And then this whole tabbing, I'm going to have to work on that a little bit to get that to properly align just right to tab into that. But that's, we're getting kind of close there with this. I'll mess with that in a minute. One of the things that we need to work on is this tail bit piece, because I've not done anything with it yet. So we need to, at this point, there's something ingenious that FansToys FansToys did here. I don't know. Can you tell a FansToys or an X-Transbot's transformation apart at all anymore in these days? I think we put it in like this and slide it in here. believe. Let me double check that. I got confused for a second there. You see the shape of that section there? It matches the shape of this. And then I guess this is supposed to be a filler too, you know. So it's on both sides. Tab all this stuff in. And you'll know you got it in there right if it tabs in, so make sure it's correctly in on both sides. And tab all that in. And as you can see, that does cover a little bit of what's going on there, up. And then up here with the chestal region here, that little tab, it's actually it's a little pain, but if you really want it done right, just fold this little flap out to tab into this piece there. And if everything's tabbed in right, that just stays nice and easy. You can fold these arms here out a bit. And I just feel like something else just came untabbed, which it did. Let's re-tab it in. But we're going to go, I guess, as you say, clean it up. And lastly, definitely not leastly, this is actually ingenious. I never closed this all the way up from when we looked at it earlier. Flip this around and boom! It'll plug in. And it's should all be the same all the way around, but definitely want the junk on the bottom. I think we're done. I'm gonna look it over and see if there's anything that I missed, but are we done? Are we done? Yes, we're done, I think. Oh, we've got to change these out. I specifically set it up to where, well, I guess FansToys specifically set up the transformation where that can be changed out, so we'll come back and do that. So this is another armchair quarterback or backseat driver tip, but to solidify this so it's not moving around, this pulls out. And if you're going to pull it out, then you're going to have it done correctly. Pull out. Early. How do you swap the heel bits? I'm not even angry about this because, I mean, there's so many pieces. I mean, you saw if there's 100 steps, then there's more than 100 pieces. Oh man, break this loose. There she blows. All right. Unscrew it. Separate it. Slide this up. I think Pake's the one that figured this out. Pake for life. Then we're going to put it over here, and we are going to swap it. Stop, drop, and swap it. Like this. And then same thing here. This. Okay, this is easy. It's just, I certainly am making it look harder than it should be. And I don't know why. Anyway, you get the gist. And then you can notice that the cutout is going to cover that now. And so this will tab in properly. Same thing on the other side without losing, put your finger over this so it doesn't get lost. And so this will be a little easier. Now, every time you do something the second time, it's a little easier. It doesn't hurt as bad as the first time. It always hurts the first time, especially if you lose your screws. But I don't think I have to show much more than this, do I? For those in the back, this is how you screw it in. So you do some screwing. There we go. And then, of course, close it all back up. Flip it back around and get her tabbed in the way she should be, the way she wants it, like that. That's how she likes it. And then any subsequent panels that kind of got misaligned, just whatever. All right, here he is in his cannon mode, and he's his cannons, and he's got his necklace on in this cannon mode. I bet people didn't know you could wear the necklace in cannon mode. And not 100% sure I got that 100% seated now since we put that back in, but it's okay with me. For the 5 minutes I keep this in alt mode. I'm gonna have to just leave it in auto mode for 3 days and just look at it, because make it worth all the effort to get into here, tighten that up a little bit. It's like the little minor details at the end, you know. It has some play in it. Oh, I think it has play on purpose, but does it look better than the 1.0? Well, we're going to do that comparison here in a bit, but yeah, it looks like I remember it from the cartoon and everything that we'd want. I don't know if it's worth the cost. The cost isn't $200 or like 180 it shows here or something, however much it was. The cost is bigger than that. It's the time to transform it and the stress of breakage, but nothing broke, and actually I didn't really feel like anything was going to break, so that was nice on this guy. Very, very nice. But the long process does not make people want to repeat that same said process. Would be nice though if I had the batteries, if it was not my 15th battery. All right, let's get this off here. There's blink. All right. Well, I guess all we got left is a comparison to close out. First, we're going to compare it to the G1, because this truly is not your father's Oldsmobile. It's not your Oldsmobile either. That's the G1. I don't know. I feel like I might even have this G1 transformed wrong. Yeah, I might have it transformed wrong. I don't even really care. And compared to the first one, 1.0, this is the toy version. I don't even know what they call it. They don't call it T. I will say this, that the 2.0 significantly better in both modes. And where everyone complains about this, the 1.0, the biggest complaints were the alt mode. So there you go. Add an extra 100 steps and you could be there. And the other thing is, this feels like, actually against itself, it feels more premium than this. I mean, they're both heavy as heck. Just feels like and looks like bare plastic on the 1.0. Let's get up closer here. But yeah, it looks like bare plastic for the most part. And this one feels like painted head to toe, like FansToys. I feel like I don't have that in all the way. Anyway, there it goes compared to the 1.0. And yeah, significant improvement. Just hands down in both modes improved, except for, you know, the cannon connecting to the forearm bit and all of that. This is my look at FansToys Sovereign 2.0, and they call this one the FT-59. Is it 59? Yeah, that's quite a few FTs that they have made in these days, but significant improvement over the original. I do wish, instead of connecting the cannon to his inner elbow, that it connected to his forearm also. I'm not sure why all the stuff they included, it didn't include that. And transformation is tedious and long. Nothing broke. It's not fun. It doesn't always make sense until you get to like step 3. Won't make sense till step 30. But anyway, good looking figure in both modes. I did get this Show Z store. I have a link down below where you can get yours and support the channel with TH in their viewer code. But if you have the 1.0 and you're happy, like, I don't see the point, other than the fact that some people want to have the best of the best of the best representation, and that's what this is, hands down, best of the best. But where's Megatron? Titanium Hanger out.